Hello friends, welcome to e-learning platform of Kadi Sharva Vishwavidyalaya. I am Dr. Shailaja Parmar. Today we are going to discuss the subject Taxation 1, Introduction to Taxation, chapter number 1. Okay. In the last lecture, we have understood the introduction to income tax. We have seen that which particular act is there into India, that is the Income Tax Act 1961. It is there into India and it has came into existence on 1st April 1962. Apart from that, we have understood the classification of the income tax, that is direct and indirect tax, and then after we have gone through the slabs of income tax, that is the schemes of income tax. Then we have understood the rebate which is applicable right now for the previous year 2019-20. Now in today's session we are going to understand some of the important definitions. The very first definition which we are going to start is the income tax. What is income tax? The tax collected by the central government for each financial year on the total taxable income of an assessee earned during the previous year is known as income tax. In short, if an individual assessee earns something, then in that case it is obligatory. It is obligatory on his part. In fact, it would be his or her responsibility to pay the tax to the government. So the amount of tax which would be collected by the central government from all those who are liable to pay the income tax is known as the income tax. The next definition is of income. In the income tax, there are inclusive and exclusive definitions. Income, it is an inclusive definition. Okay. Now, income is defined under section 2, subsection 24, and there is a long list of various incomes which are forming the part of income. In short, you may call all those as the income. So, let us understand what is the meaning of income as per the Income Tax Act. So, income includes the following: profits and gains of business or profession, dividend income, voluntary contribution received by a charitable trust, religious trust, or even by the educational institutions or the hospitals, perquisites in lieu of salary, which are been received by an individual assessee if he is engaged into the profession of salary. Then special allowances which are given to a salaried person to perform his duties well. Then any export incentives which are been received by an individual if he or she is engaged into the export business, like duty drawbacks, cash compensatory supports, and etc. Then if it is a partnership firm, then in that case interest, salary income, bonus, commission, or remuneration received by a partner is again a income. Capital gain, okay, capital gain by transfer of the capital asset would be considered as the income. Profits and gains from the banking businesses and the insurance businesses deemed the income. Deemed income in the sense it would be considered that it is a income. Then winning from lotteries, crossword puzzles, races, card games, betting, these are all the casual incomes. In fact, these are all not the regular income, or these are not in a recurring nature, even though those are income, forming the part of the definition of income. Sums received by an assessee from the Provident Fund, Superannuation Fund will also be an income. Amount received under Keyman Insurance Policy will also be considered as an income. Apart from that, there is a long inclusive list where that if you are earning anything, then in that case it would be considered as an income under section 2 subsection 24 of the Income Tax Act 1961. Apart from that, illegal income is also taxable. It means there has to be income, legal or illegal. It's not a big deal over here. Okay. So even if you're earning through smuggling or bank robbery, then the government will say you that yes, sir, you have to pay the taxes on the same. That is why illegal income is also a taxable income. Next we have to understand is the assessment year and the previous year. These are very important things over here. Assessment year and the previous year. Okay. In short, previous year we will understand first. So the financial year immediately preceding the assessment year will be known as the previous year. In short, the year in which you earn is the previous year. The year in which an assessee earns is the previous year, and the assessment year is a period of 12 months commencing on 1st April and ending on 31st March every year. So it is a year in which the income of the previous year is to be assessed. Yeah, so that is why the financial year immediately preceding the assessment year is the previous year, and the year after previous year is the assessment year. So for us, our previous year is 2019-20, and that is why our assessment year is 2020-21. Okay, our previous year commences on 1st April 2019 and it ends on 31st March 2020, and simultaneously, because our previous year 2019-20, our assessment year is 2020-21, which starts on 1st April 2020 and ends on 31st March 2021. So in short, the year in which you earn is the previous year and the year in which you pay is the assessment year. Okay, now let us understand what is the meaning of assessment. So assessment is a process of determining the correctness of the income of an assessee and of assessing the amount of tax payable by him and the procedure for imposing the tax liability. In simple words, that if you are earning anything during your previous year, then in that case you have to go for the calculation of the same. So assessment is what? Determining, checking, analyzing whether whatever the income has been calculated by you, okay, whether it has been correctly calculated or not, whether the income of a particular assessee has been determined correctly or not. After that, the finding out or calculating the amount of tax payable on such calculated income and the procedure for imposing the tax liability will be considered as or will be known as the assessment procedure. Next, we have to understand the word assessee. Under section 2, subsection 27, it is again an inclusive definition. Okay, so in simple words, an assessee is a person by whom any tax liability is to be paid to the central government. This is the simple definition of assessee. Anybody who pays the tax is an assessee. Now let us understand the definition which has been given by section 2, subsection 27. So it is, as I have already told you, that it is an inclusive definition. It includes A. An assessee is a person by whom any tax or any other sum of money is payable under this Act. Okay, so any other sum of money may include the interest, penalty, fringe benefits, etc. So anything out of this is to be paid by a person or an individual to the income tax department or to the central government, then in that case he or she is an assessee. B. Every person in respect of whom any proceedings under the Act has been taken for the assessment year. It is not like that if you have or if you are liable to pay anything to the government in the form of income tax only, then you are an assessee. No. If anything, any type of proceedings have been taking place for under this Income Tax Act against you, or then in that case even you would be considered as an associate. So in that case you yourself for your own income, that is his or her income of any other person, or loss sustained by the particular individual person itself, or the amount of refund due to him or other such person. Okay, so if anything of such a kind is like it is there in the form of proceedings in against you or any other person for whom you are liable, then in that case you would be considered as an associate. Next you have the deemed to be an associate, means it would be considered that you are actually an associate, in which particular cases it which include the trustee of a trust would be earning an income, but whenever it would be the liability, the who would be responsible, then the trustee of that particular trust would be responsible, and that is why trustee is an associate over here. Then the legal representative of a non-resident, it means an agent of a non-resident person, a foreigner. Okay, so agent of a foreigner person who would be taking care of all financial affairs of that particular non-resident Indian, then in that case you are an associate. The legal guardian or a manager on behalf of minor, lunatics and idiot. If an individual is a minor or a lunatic or an idiot, those who are not capable enough to take their own decisions rightly in a correct manner, then in that case legal guardians will act as an associate for them. And if you have been appointed by the court as a ward or official trustee, then in that case you would be deemed to be an associate. On the top of all, deemed to be an associate in default, if you are in default for the failing to deduct or remit the tax deducted at source to the government, number 1, and number 2, if you fail to pay the tax or any other sum demanded by the income tax authorities, then in that case you would be considered as an associate in default. Okay, so that is why associate, it is an inclusive definition wherein if you are liable to pay anything to the income tax in the form of tax or any other money, if any proceeding has been taking place in for you or on behalf of you to somebody else, or on somebody else for somebody else's to you, then deemed to be an associate in certain cases like legal representative or legal guardian. And if you are in default for anything like TDS or a tax or any other sum demanded by the income tax, you are considered as an associate. Now let us understand the next definition, that is an assessment. It is a process of determining the correctness of income of an assessee or of an assessing the amount of tax payable by him and procedure for imposing the tax liability. This definition we have understood already. Now, very important. Every associate is a person, but every person is not an associate. This is most important over here. We have understood the definition of person. Person includes an individual, firm, Hindu undivided family, company, association of person, body of individual, local authority, and any other artificial judicial person. Okay. So those all who are earning are person. But is it like that all persons are associate or all associates are person? No. The case is that all associates are person, but all persons are not associates. I'll give you an example. Say for example, a senior citizen. Okay. Senior citizen, Mr. Acharya. He is having his total income for the year is rupees 2,90,000. Okay, in the previous year 2019-20, and we all know that for the senior citizen, what is the exempted limit? It is rupees 3 lakhs. And how much? Mr. Acharya, being a senior citizen, is having a total income of rupees 2,90,000. So Mr. Acharya, being an individual, he is a person, but because he is not crossing the exemption limit of rupees 3 lakhs, that is the maximum exemption limit of rupees 3 lakhs, then in that case he is not an assessee even though he is a person over here. Okay, so everybody who is liable to pay the tax is an assessee, but it doesn't mean that every person is liable to pay the tax. Okay. Now let us understand the next definition, gross total income. It is a total of taxable income under all the 5 heads of income before making deductions under section 80C to 80U. Now let me clear that what are all these 5 heads of income. Now income tax has defined the 5 heads of income for the calculation purpose. So we have 5 heads of income. Those are income under the head salary, number 1. Income under the head business and profession, number 2. Income under the head capital gain, number 3. Then income under the head house property, number 5, and income under the head other sources. So these are the 5 heads of income with the help of which you may calculate the total income. If you are taking a sum of all these 5 heads, then it would be the gross total income prior to deduction under section 80C to 80U, which are been prescribed by the Income Tax Act in 1961. Next we have the total income. Total income under section 245, it is defined as the total income is the income of an assessee from all sources on which he has to pay the tax. What is gross total income? Gross total income is the income prior to all deductions under section 80C to 80U. Once you are enjoyed all the deductions from all these mentioned deductions under section 80C to 80U, the left is the total income actually on which you have to pay the income tax, and that is what known as the total income. Then now let us understand the definition of casual income. Now we all know that income tax is a tax which has been levied on the income tax. Yes, on the income which has been earned by an individual. Okay, fine. Now like if it is a salary income, in that case it is a recurring nature. If it is a business and profession, even it is a recurring. It means that you are going to get that income on a regular basis. But there are certain incomes which are of a casual and non-recurring nature. Okay, those which are not been received from a regular source of income, and even those are not the regular incomes which are unexpected completely and unforeseen. Okay, you do not know whether you will get or not, you will earn or not. There is 100% unexpectancy for such a type of income are known as the casual incomes. For the casual income, no amount of expenses are to be allowed as a deduction. For example, the winning from lottery, crossword puzzles, horse races, card games, any gambling or betting income, all such a type of incomes are not fixed. Those are not of a regular nature, and those are of a casual nature and non-recurring nature. You do not know, you are not sure about whether you will earn out of winning from lottery. Yeah, that is why those are known as the casual income. I hope the definitions which we have discussed just now are clear to everybody. Thank you very much.